So quickly, guys, you'll be looking at hazardous waste segregation. Okay, and hazardous waste segregation is basically just a part of laboratory safety that is trying to aim at, okay, yeah, you are having waste in the laboratory. Yeah, all are waste. Do you understand? But not all waste are of the same type. Okay, and some waste, when you put them together, they can cause some hazards, right? So segregation is basically a process of separating. So you should know which type of waste to actually dispose together, all right, and some ways to actually keep them separately. Okay, so we'll be looking at these examples, and basically we'll look forward to actually covering everything. All right, so hazardous waste segregation in the laboratory. Our first slide here, we have it as don't throw chemicals in sewage. All right, chemicals that are basically less than 7 pH or greater than 10 pH, right? So accumulate segregated waste in what plastic containers. Okay, so you could see this solid waste being put out differently, organic waste being put out differently. Do you understand? So waste collected every month for free, that's basically in our own laboratory. Unknown waste is not accepted. Most segregated and labeled waste is what accepted. So sometimes you could go as far as what labeling your waste, okay, that this one is waste from this type of reaction that we did. This one is waste from this type of reaction that we did. Do you understand? So hazardous waste segregation is a process of what separating hazardous waste from what non-hazardous waste, right? So some of them are hazardous. Okay, some of them could cause harm. Some waste, when you put them together, they could also still react, all right, and have an effect on you, all right. So some of them are hazardous, some of them are what non-hazardous, right? And also, okay, so separating hazardous waste from non-hazardous waste and segregating different type of what hazardous waste from each other. So among the hazardous waste, you still don't put some together. Do you understand? So this is done to what? All right, what is the benefit of doing this? Being careful with the waste that basically come out from the laboratory, to prevent harm to humans, animals, and the environment. All right, avoiding some unnecessary reactions that you don't really want to see. All right, so basically, when you are doing this, you are complying with the regulations and the laws of the laboratory too. It will facilitate what proper disposal and treatment. Okay, it will minimize waste volumes and reduce what disposal cost, right? So basically, it is economical if you take the safety precautions rather than going down with a disaster in the laboratory. Do you understand? So hazardous waste, the different type of hazardous materials and hazardous waste we could have in the laboratory. We could have radioactive waste, you could have corrosive waste, you could have oxidizers waste, waste that could cause explosive. All right, then you could have compressed gas. When you open it, it can explode. Do you understand? So that's all. Common categories of segregating what hazardous waste include, you could have corrosive waste, right? For examples, we have acid and base, right? So you keep them separately. You could have flammable waste like what solvents and fuels, you keep them separately. You have toxic waste like what heavy metals and pesticides, do well to keep them separately. You could have reactive waste like what oxidizers and reducers, you do well to what conceal them and keep them separately. You could have radioactive waste like what uranium and thorium, right? Do well to keep them separately. You could have chemical waste like what lab chemicals and cleaning supplies. You could have biological waste like what infectious materials and bodily fluids. Okay, so and segregation methods include what separating waste by what category. Okay, and using labeled containers and storage areas, implementing a color coding system. All right, then training personnel on what segregation procedures. All right, so regularly inspect and maintain segregation areas, right? So remember to always follow local regulations and guidelines for what hazardous waste segregation and disposal. All right, so guys, this is the lecture on what hazardous waste segregation in the laboratory. Okay, so I'll be see you guys in the next tutorial, and bye.